Okay, a little snafu on the camera here. Anyway, yeah, I guess we kind of imploded a little bit and exploded the truck. So it looked like it was making progress, and you know, sometimes you need to step back to move forward. Easy to get frustrated, easy to just kind of drop the tools and walk away. So you know, I basically got to that point in the build. So yeah, I think, you know, from the last pictures that you guys saw and video, you'll be like, well, what happened? So yeah, we're kind of making a mess of things, but I guess you gotta break some eggs. And I had a bunch of little things happen. I'll share the frustration. It's not all smooth sailing all the time, but the big news is, let me just turn it around. You can kind of see where the chassis was. So I was fortunate enough to find one guy to buy the entire, you know, lock, stock, and barrel. So that's pretty cool. So recouped quite a bit of money out of the truck towards the kit, and all that stuff worked out pretty well. And now I've got a clean backyard, and the wife's happy because there's no junk in the backyard. Anyway, so let's go look at the truck. Anyway, yeah, let's go look at it, and we'll see how everybody finds it. Stand by. Okay, and I fixed my camera mount. All right, so stand by. Here it is. And now you're gonna be like, well, what happened? So I've got the radiator core out. You're looking at the front of the motor. I've got the giant mess. We've got the front end clip sitting right there, nice and easy to take off, but I can't move around, right? So now I'm basically stuck. I've got this huge box of header pipe material stock to include this nice beefy, move the phone, this nice beefy 3/8 flange to make a header. So I've got that. I did get the transmission in finally. So yeah, RSA Race Solutions, or Race Parts, they hooked me up. They put this whole thing together. They got it 2 days later. They were basically all tore apart, ready to go. There was some wore out components from being 140,000 miles. They got them from Ford. Basically turned it around in a week and then shipped it back to me. Transfer case looked good, so it's all going back together again. And it's ready to accept the torque converter and some fluid. And then this is where kind of things started to go a little bit awry. So everybody knows that these bolts are one-time use when you split this off, if you decide to do that. Let me take this all the way out. And they're aluminum, which I wouldn't have thought that this bolt holding this transfer case was aluminum, but it is, and it's one-time use. It's 150 inch-pounds, not a big deal, but I'm not going to risk it, so we ordered new bolts. So then I was like, all right, well, let me just move over to the Circle D torque converter. So let me walk over there. And the Circle D torque converter is from Palm Beach Dyno, is sitting right there. And why isn't it right there? Well, because somebody named with the initials Eric Trevis forgot to order transmission fluid while I was gone. So I've got to order that. So then I'm like, well, let me put the flex plate on. So let me show you where the flex plate is. The flex plate from Suncoast is sitting right here on top of the motor. Why is it sitting on top of the old motor, you ask? I'm glad you asked. So what happened was I decided I was going to mock it up on the old motor and realized that those bolts are also one-time use torque to yield bolts. And given the horsepower, I wasn't going to mess around with that because, you know, you don't want that stuff flying around. So I went ahead and ordered F1 or 5.0 Coyote bolts. Well, what I got from Ford were the ones for the manual transmission. So I went ahead on Summit and ordered F-150 flex plate bolts, and what I got were shouldered bolts that were too long. So I went on the ARP website and I basically looked up the thread pitch and length that I needed, and it turns out it's a 5.4 and 5.2 bolt that you need for those mod motors. So I went ahead next day aired those. So those should be here this week. So yeah, so that was all kind of a bummer. I was trying to go ahead and do that stuff today. You know, basically I hadn't worked on the truck a week, and I was kind of hoping that we would have something more to show. I did get a big crate from Factory 5. Some guys wanted to know about the hitch. There is a hitch, and this not the hitch like in the plan. Excuse the mess again. We're kind of moving stuff around right now. But this is the, and you can't really see it too well, but this is the ginormous hitch receiver assembly that bolts to the back of the and underneath on the frame. So I'll make some time and do a whole separate video on that. But that's after we get this thing completely on the ground. Then, so you think, well, what else could happen? Well, you'll notice that the header that I had built was sitting right here is no longer there because I got it all placed in there and I didn't have the air conditioner compressor in, and wouldn't you know it, when I went to go put that in, it hit the header. So you know what that means? That means I need to go back to Summit and order some more parts. Let me show you what happened. Okay, so here's the pipe that was basically mocked up in the chassis, and you can see what I've started to do is I've added some pie cuts in there, and I'll clean those up. And this one's going to get connected there, so that was going well until we got, so this is where the AC compressor basically came out, and it was, basically it was sitting right here. Hold on, I think it was this one. So this was sitting, was sitting right there, and the AC compressor is right there. So then I decided, all right, well, let me just cut this off, and basically what needs to happen is I need to add, you know, some pieces, and this is just for mock-up, but basically I need this pipe, you know, to stay as close to this pipe as possible, and then kind of loop around, and then, you know, pipe like that, you know. So basically it's just gonna do one of those. The general placement of everything is fine, and then this is where I kind of, you know, I haven't really built headers before. I usually just start here and then build out that way, but you know, this is just smaller tube welding, right? But there is a method to the madness here. So the problem I'm seeing right now is that when I go, you can't cleanly like replace one tube like that, right? Because you can't seal the weld down there. You could potentially, you know, I don't know if you can see that, you could potentially take the MIG and snake it down in here, you know, and weld in there, and then it, you know, we kind of play that game of, you know, do you take the shortcut, you know, and then just risk it leaking a little bit and just deal with that after the truck is all together, or do you just call it what it is and just, you know, I guess cut bait and do what needs to get done, right? So yeah, so I think, you know, I think I'm just gonna do it right? So, well, I don't know if right is the right word, but I'm gonna do it more correct. So I'm gonna end up cutting, I'm gonna cut the merge collector off, and that will leave me these 3 pipes on there, and I'll have to get another power spike, which is right there, or just slice that one off and then, you know, reuse it. And then I just ordered a new one of these for this side. But the rest of this is okay, and this whole box this is all sitting on is like 20 bends of 1 3/4 inch exhaust tubing. So should have plenty of bends and material, you know, to make this up and then to make the other header pipe up. But so right now I'm kind of stuck because I really need to get the transmission in so that I can get this engine. I'm pretty sure it goes like that, and that's going to change all of the dynamics of, you know, where the turbo piping is going to go. As far as the turbo pipes go, I believe, I hope, what's going to happen, I'm just going to use this for mock-up, is that header pipe on this side is going to come out, you know, something like this, right? And then it's going to make a turn and go up, and this is 3-inch pipe. We'll be using 2.5 inch, and then that one of the turbos is going to be sitting right here, so when the hood closes, this vent will be basically right over the turbo, letting the heat come up out of the roof, and then, or the hood. And then the other one is kind of going to do the same thing. It's going to come up right through here, and that turbo will sit right there. This is where the airbox normally goes, and this is where the battery normally sits. So I'm gonna come up with a different battery arrangement. I was kind of on the list of things that was going to have to happen, but yeah. So the turbo will go here, turbo will go there, the hot pipe will come up through here on this side, here on the passenger side, and then we'll have to figure out how to do the exhaust. I'm not sure if the exhaust is going to, you know, go this way, and then maybe across the back of the motor right there, and then down there on that side, and maybe on this side, you know, come over this way. This will obviously, you know, be over there, come over this way, and then down there. And then I've got to figure out the whole intercooler arrangement, the cold pipe, and then going into the throttle body. So there's a lot of visualization that needs to happen, but really I really need to get the turbos mounted in about the position they need to go. But I can't do any of that until this is in there in the right angle. I'm already seeing that in order to get this header pipe in, I'm gonna have to lift the motor and kind of reposition. So I'll start on this side, pick the motor up while it's still, transmission's still in, pick it up, slide it to the driver's side, put that header in, slide it back to the mount position, and then start mocking up that side. And then when that's done, I should be able to just sneak the other header in this side. There's a lot more room on this side, hopefully. If not, I'll do the same thing. I'll pick it up and then slide the turbo or the engine over to that side. Yeah. So yeah, it's difficult. We'll get there. Stay positive, good vibes. Sorry for the mess. Got back after at London, Ohio Cobra Show. Had a great time there. The Daytona or Gen 3 coupe worked great. Actually got 21 miles to the gallon. And I meant to say at the beginning, I was pleasantly surprised or humbled. I looked at how many subscribers I have, and my target had been 500, and I think I'm at like 550 already, and I hadn't even posted for a week, and it seems like everybody's tuning in. So thank you for all the questions. I've been trying to be as honest as I can on all the responses, and thanks for all the subscribes. that's pretty neat. Like to see people interested in the Factory 5 product and the build. You can definitely tell this is a home garage, and we're not a pro shop. I don't pretend to be. Just try to do pro level work, right? Do the best you can, yeah, and any excuse to buy some new tools. So I think that'll be it for this week while we wait on parts and fluids and bolts and all that stuff. But if they do come in, I will I'll definitely take small videos at least, and then we'll probably consolidate those over the weekend. I'm expecting Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday to be pretty aggressive days. Hopefully things move along and we get a lot more pieces on the turbo system. Maybe we'll even have some turbos, hot sides mocked up and turbos hanging in the air. More to follow. Stay tuned. Please be patient. We're moving as fast as we can. So we'll talk to you soon.